as someone who not too long ago started buying a lot of his own groceries and is cooking for himself, price is definitely a factor in this. So any of those super high end like cuts of meat and that goes into the extreme price range is not going to be on this list because your boy can't afford that. So therefore not going to be very high on this list at all. So without further ado, let's jump in to my list. I'm really excited for this one, and I hope that you guys learn maybe a little something or add something to your shopping list next time you go out, and you can come home with a little bit more protein maybe. I don't know. Alright. Number 10 on my list. Actually, first, I want to hit a couple little honorable mentions. So, I'm not going to include like the store-bought like protein shakes or like protein bars. Personally, I don't think that that's like real protein, even though it technically, like it is real. But I think a lot of it is just very processed, and I don't really like a lot of the protein shakes on the market, like Fairlife's Core Power, like Premier Protein, all that stuff. I'm not really the biggest fan of. Granola bars are like alright, those they're highly advertised as, quick 50 grams of protein, like quick whatever, but I think a lot of times they're also very highly processed, have a lot of sugar, and so I'm not going to include either of those on today's list. But if you enjoy them, then by all means. I also think that they're a little bit too expensive for my taste, and there's a lot better options for a lot lower for price. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. At number 10, I have an array of mixed nuts. Now, this is, I feel, a pretty underrated protein source because a little tin of mixed nuts at Costco or something is pretty cheap, and it's very quick, easy, it's versatile, it's really good for on-the-go protein. If you're in a rush or whatnot, I really like just grabbing a handful of mixed nuts and kind of just popping them in as I go about my day, and they're pretty filling as well. They're very calorie dense, which is also maybe a downside for some people. It's typically not going to be your main protein source of the day. They also lack certain essential amino acids, so it's not a full protein source, if you will. But I really like them just because they're very versatile and quick, and yeah, it's just if I'm in a rush, they're easy to grab and go. So in the number 10, mixed nuts, very solid option. In the 9 slot, I have tuna. Now, tuna is something that I only kind of recently got into. I'm still personally not even the biggest fan of the smell nor the taste of tuna. It really just isn't for me. But I can recognize the benefits that it has. It's cheap, it's convenient, it's great for sandwiches, it's a great add-on to certain things, like maybe even certain salads. Tuna goes pretty well on. I just personally don't like the taste at all. It would probably be higher on my list if it wasn't for the taste, but I got a couple buddies who are really into tuna, specifically albacore tuna. I know that albacore has lower levels of mercury in it, which tuna actually tends to have higher levels and can maybe even be a health concern if all you eat is tuna, I guess, for whatever reason. But a couple of my buddies are really big on albacore tuna, and it's like all they ate. And I don't really know how it worked out for them, but I do still like tuna as a protein source. It's a pretty solid one overall. So in the 9, I gotta go with tuna. In the 8 slot, I have salmon. Now, a lot of people might have put salmon a little bit higher. I personally love salmon. It's another fish very high in omega-3 fats, which are very good for you. It's a phenomenal protein. It tastes great, and it's really good also for your heart. So, good for, your whole cardiovascular system. The only thing about salmon is I don't like the price tag on it. Typically, good and fresh salmon tends to run you up a little bit of a pretty penny, and salmon also is one it's just a superfood. It regulates your blood sugar. It's really high in iron and folate, and it keeps you full, right? And when you're broke and you need something to keep you filled, lentils will do that. It's also full of fiber, and of course, fiber is very good for you. It also is extremely cost effective and easy to prepare. It's just one of them all around, just most versatile add-ons or just quick bites that you can possibly make, and I think it's well worth the time that it takes to make it, which really isn't too long. It's great in really any sort of dish to kind of just add it on top or add it to the side. It doesn't taste bad. Like, it's not like the greatest tasting thing in the world, but I personally really love lentils because I can feel good about eating it, and I know that I'm getting my money's worth, and my body's gonna feel good after eating it. And I just like the thought of flooding my body with things that it likes. So, in the seven, are lentils. Let me know in the comments what is your favorite source of protein, and if there's any that I missed, or any that are glaringly obvious that I should know about. Please put me on. I'm always on the lookout for new ways to get protein into my body that don't hurt the wallet. Moving on to number six. At number six, I have the homemade protein shake. Now, this is a lot different from the store-bought protein shakes that have excess amounts of sugar, that are just, proprietary blends. A lot of plant proteins, soy proteins, which are fine, to each their own, but I really like getting a good scoop of unflavored, maybe vanilla whey protein, and mixing it with a bunch of other ingredients I'm actually going to share with you guys. The protein shake that I make almost every day, I make it multiple times a week for sure, but I really like the protein shake from my own kitchen because it's a great post-workout. It's easy to just pound. It's very convenient. It's manipulatable to a degree because you can really control what you put into it. The only downside with it is that it has downsides from Whole Foods because it doesn't keep you full for as long, so you're probably going to feel hungry afterwards. And it does take a decent amount of prep time, and it, of course, does take a lot of ingredients. So if you run out of one ingredient, it's not the end of the world, but it's just not going to be, the most optimal smoothie. But I'm really excited to share with you guys my personal recipe. My personal recipe for what I think is one of the greatest homemade protein shakes you can make. I wrote it down here. So I got the perfect homemade protein shake, in my opinion, of course. It starts off with an oat milk base. You can use 2% whole milk or whatever it is used, but personally I enjoy oat milk. I use vanilla whey protein powder. Any sort of protein powder works. I like the vanilla taste, it goes well, and flavored also would probably work well. I wouldn't recommend like a chocolate or strawberry. Maybe strawberry would work, but a vanilla whey protein powder. I take a frozen fruit blend. I typically use this one blend that has like cherries, strawberries, and blueberries, and it's frozen fruit. That's really good. I'll put in just like a couple chunks of that. I'll put in like 100 milliliters of the milk. I forgot to give you guys the actual measurements. A lot of it is a lot of eyeballing for me at this point, but anyways, after the frozen fruit, I put in a little dash of honey. I put in lemon juice. I'll normally cut my lemons into fourths, and I'll squeeze a whole fourth into my protein shake. I'll take a couple spoonfuls of almond butter or peanut butter. I typically like almond butter a little bit more, just a personal preference. And then I'll do kale, which huge game changer, by the way. I typically put in the lemon juice and the kale. I put the lemon juice to kind of offset the acidity of the kale, and it tastes really good. If I don't have kale, sometimes I won't put in lemon juice, and vice versa as well. But those two go together great. And then sometimes I'll put in eggs icy a little bit. That's how I personally like my smoothies. If you don't like it like that, or if you like it a lot more finer, or more runny, more liquidy, you don't need to put in the ice. You can just add more milk or water to top it off. But try that at home, you guys. It will not disappoint. I promise you. It's delicious. I look forward to it after every workout. It really is the highlight of my day sometimes, which sounds really sad, but it's really good. I promise you. Anyways, I've rambled far too long about the protein shake, but that is my number 6, which really, now thinking about it, it should be higher because it's just such an enjoyable experience to really just enjoy the fruits of your labor when taking down one of those protein shakes. Like, okay, I digress. Moving on to number 5. Now, number 5 is similar to the lentils. It's not gonna be probably your main source of protein in your dinner or in your lunch or whatever, but quinoa. I think that for what it is, quinoa is probably the most versatile protein source on this list, and it easily deserves this spot. The only reason I couldn't put it higher is because it doesn't have the volume of protein for the price that some of these other ones have, but I think that it's so versatile as a base, and you can put it under almost everything. I eat rice and quinoa in almost every single one of my meals, and it's just so versatile and so good for you. It contains all 9 essential amino acids. It's packed with antioxidants. You know, it's just a great base for a lot of these meals, and so I think it's extremely versatile. It is a little bit pricier than your normal white rice. What I kind of do to offset that is I'll do a quinoa rice, a quinoa and then white rice like blend, and I will just pop it in the rice cooker that way, and so I can kind of stretch out the quinoa a little bit longer and make it last. But overall, if you have never had it or had the opportunity, the privilege, the luxury even of indulging some quinoa, I would highly recommend it. It's a really great grain all around and a great base for any dish. Moving on to number 4. I believe number 4, if you surveyed the world, this would be the world's number 1. But in my 4, I have your ground beef, your lean ground beef. Now, when you think protein, you almost immediately think about, your beef. You think about your red meats, and that's what most people will think to when you think about protein. And the truth of the matter is, it is a very, very good source of protein. Right? It's cheap and versatile. It's very high in iron, high in vitamin B12. I really like ground beef personally. I don't like the taste the most, but I really do love it just for what it is. I think that it can be a little high in saturated fat, and for that reason it's not higher on this list, but it easily could be, for a different ranker. But for my personal opinion, phenomenal protein source. Has a couple boxes that I would like to see checked, that for me it just doesn't check, but in the 4 spot is going to be that lean ground beef. Phenomenal. It really is great for meal prep as well. It's extremely versatile, and it stays good for as long as you need it, really. I'll be a testament to that. Alright, moving on to our podium here. These protein sources are very elite, and if you don't dabble in these, you're leaving gains on the table, I'll tell you that much. And even if you don't work out, you're leaving the goods on the table, because these are elite. So in the 3 slot, I got what I alluded to earlier in the video. I got our main man, eggs. Ooh. Eggs are such a staple. Personally, when I think of protein, eggs are one of the first things that I think of, just because how versatile they are, especially working in as a breakfast food. Man, I think like 99% of days I'll have eggs in my breakfast. I have this really good avocado toast recipe where I'll put cottage cheese and eggs on top. Cottage cheese is honestly an honorable mention on this list. It should be, because that's also a pretty great source of protein. price of eggs have actually dropped quite a lot, so I guess the price is a little bit versatile, or not versatile, volatile. It's a little bit volatile, the price. But as of right now, they're pretty cheap, so get them while you can. Moving on to number two. Number two on the list now, to be a number two protein source, in my humble opinion, of course, you've got to check a lot of boxes, right? You've got to check the taste box, the price box, you got to check the versatility box. I'm a big fan of versatility in foods and using foods for a variety of different recipes and a variety of different ways. And I think in my number two, the Greek yogurt is one of the most versatile foods that there is. You know, it plays as a base, it plays as a side, it plays as an ingredient. I really love to start my day with a good bowl of Greek yogurt, honey and blueberries. One of my favorite breakfasts of all time. It's extremely cheap, and if you just get a tub of Greek yogurt, a little basket of blueberries, and a jar of honey, you can have that breakfast every day for like a couple weeks, and you'll be good. And I love it. It's extremely healthy. So good for you. It's high in calcium, high in protein. Can be a little bit expensive, but you just gotta foot the bill for this one, honestly. Like, some things are worth the money, and investing in a good tub of Greek yogurt, I will say, is worth the money, for me at least. So Greek yogurt, easy choice in my two. Now, the moment you have all been waiting for. I think that it might be kind of obvious what the number one is at this point. There's kind of a big hole in my list right now because it's missing the mother, the cornerstone of all protein, and that of course is in the number one spot. In the number one spot is your chicken breast. Now, if anyone tries to tell you that the chicken breast is not the best source of protein out there, I would question everything that person ever says to you, because I feel like there's no real way to make an argument against the chicken breast. It's the leanest commonly available protein source. 80% of all its calories comes from its protein. So it's the highest protein dense food that you can buy at such a cheap cost. It's available everywhere. It's just such a high protein per calorie. It's just so available. It's so versatile for meal prep. You could eat this every single day. I will say the one downside is it can get a little boring if you eat chicken every single day, as I'd have for probably the past 6 years. I eat chicken almost every single day.